everyone. This is the Stogie lads here with the final podcast of the year 2021.
Yeah, we're back. We're back together in Stockholm in the same room. Finally recording. Ruben came up before Christmas, so we thought we'd get one out of the way here and record it. Now that we have the chance to do it in the same room, always feels more natural, right?
Yeah, definitely. Nice having a chat, especially for an episode like this, which is going to be a yearly recap, pretty much. We thought it'd be a lot has happened this year, 2021, so we thought we would just go through for our own sake, as well as for everyone else, what's happened this year, and just go.
Be good to reminisce a bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's do the what's in our glass real quick.
Yeah, let's start out.
What is this, lad?
Yeah, so you gave me this beautiful Nacka Saltis Indian Pale Ale. So interesting. I've never had this. This is a local brew.
Microbrewery.
Yeah, microbrewery here in Nacka, where we are right now recording. So
south of Stockholm.
So very interesting to try this out. I haven't tried this beer before. I think maybe you've had it before in the house here. But,
I actually haven't. Cheers, lad. I have from the same microbrewery an American Pale Ale. It's the first, like I just finished the semester. I finished everything. I finished my work for the semester before my break, and I just finished an exam this morning. Now it's the afternoon, so I feel like it is in due time to feel like...
Let's have a little cheers here.
Cheers, guys. Oh, that's delicious.
Oh, that's nice. Very, very fruity.
That's what I hate.
And
I don't like IPAs.
No, I enjoy them. I mean, it's not really like beer in that sense for me.
Yeah,
because it's just so fruity. It's somewhat in between like a cider and a beer.
Yeah, right. Because this American Pale Ale, it has the same bitterness, but there's no fruit notes, which I really enjoy. But you said this had been an eventful year, and I think that's almost an understatement. Because when we were going through preparing for this podcast episode and like thinking about what's happened this year, we just kept going, oh my God, and this as well, and this as well. Like, we kind of went from, and we said this last year as well, but we went from like very amateur level to a big step. And I think it's cool that we were able to say that last year, and we can confidently say the same thing again.
Yeah,
like we've somehow managed to take two such large steps. Because if you think back to last year, lad, we hadn't even revealed ourselves publicly before spring of 2020. That's kind of nuts.
Yeah, I remember that video very vividly, actually, when we were sitting there just for the first time revealing ourselves. And now it feels like we've been, like, that feels so far away. And like you said, it's nice at the end of the year to be able to say that we've actually done something to
go even further. Because like that's what was crazy. Our first podcast episode was January 4th of this year. And to think back, like I remember having a walk here in Sweden in the winter, in the end of December, and I remember sending you a voice message. I was like, man, some people have been saying we should try a podcast. You know, you're coming over, and after New Year's, like, you'll have a few days here. Let's like try just do it as a goof. And I remember after Tim messaged us and said like it would be really cool. Like I go out on walks with cigars. It would be cool to do it. I was like, you know what? Yeah, let's try it. Yeah. And do you remember the episode?
I do. I remember it very well, actually, because we were in at my place. Yeah. You had just been over or something like that, and then we were gonna try this out. And the first thing we did was just go into a small room to try to minimize the echo. But then what we did was we just record speaking directly into the voice memo app
on the phone.
Phone. So we were just like hunched over trying to speak into the phone, and
that was amateur hour.
Yeah, really amateur hour. But it marked the start of something that I feel is the biggest part of our operations today.
And at the time, I actually, interestingly enough, didn't think would really do it.
Yeah.
I said it in the beginning of the episode. I'm like, this doesn't mean that we're starting a legit podcast. But then for some reason, even though that episode is absolute garbage, if you listen back to it, the response was nice. I mean, people were kind. I don't know how many people were kind just to be kind, but in any case, people were really happy about it. So we did the next episode very quickly after. But I also remember this period well because I had a lot of time off because it was like right after Christmas, So I was like really inspired to do a bunch of shit. And this is something I forgot because I mean, we had that simple logo that I had just put together in a minute, which was a cigar horizontally, and then it just said Stogie over it and then lads under.
Yeah.
And that I didn't even use an editing app or anything. I literally just like pasted the text over the cigar. And we had that for a long time, but I thought we changed the logo a lot later than we actually did. We changed the logo and the entire look and all that stuff January 8th.
That's crazy because for me it felt like that was not this year. Like it
we
felt
haven't
before
even had
the
our
podcast.
current logo
It felt
for a
before.
year.
But now that I remember, our first upload was with the old logo.
True.
So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, we haven't even had this current look. I don't know why I'm calling it that. The logo, I guess we haven't even had it for a year, which is crazy. There go my cigars.
And with that logo came also another big thing that we launched, which was the merch.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was January 8th that we changed the logo, and I don't know exactly when we launched the merch, but it was the
same spirit as the
exactly.
podcast.
Yeah.
Because it was the same thing. I mean,
I remember a lot happened like very quickly there, and it was a lot of in response to your guys's what you wanted to see, which was so you just like banged out the the spreadshirt and the podcast we started, so that happened all very quickly.
Yeah, this all came from like very half-assed stuff. Like the podcast, we shouldn't say half-assed as if we didn't really try, but it was more like it was very amateur-ish in the way we did it, because the merch was all just, I mean, we've told this story probably several times, but it was just the sticker first. Like someone was like, ooh, your new logo's nice.
Yeah,
Could I have a sticker? And I just Googled how to do stickers decentralized, because I knew I wasn't going to be able to ship stickers to the US from here for any like reasonable price. And then the whole spreadshirt thing just kind of happened on a whim. And that's like one of the, when I'm reminiscing, like there are a few things here that get me like really like almost emotional thinking about it, like how crazy it is. And one of them is like, because I was scrolling through my camera roll and I'm seeing like people who sent us or posted on their story pics of them wearing our merch, and like I don't know, when you look back at all of the pics at the same time, it feels kind of nuts that there's so many people around the world. Like there's people in the States, in Europe. I mean, there's people everywhere that have stuff with our logo on it. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, I know, because I remember when we, like, our friends bought stuff, and I mean, that's nice of them and stuff, but when you actually see people that we haven't known before, the Instagram wearing the stuff, that's what's really awesome. And that's what also fueled another part into our development of the podcast, because on February 3rd, less than a month after we started the podcast, we had crowdfunded 100% of the pro level mics that we're recording from today and have been recording from the Blue Yeti, which was in part from people who've bought the merch, but also from the wonderful acts of kindness, donating through PayPal, who just wanted to sponsor us and get this equipment. So that's also very heartwarming and touching to think back.
Yeah, and like that's also, I mean, that's like we're completely spoiled in that way. Like how many people launch a podcast as a joke, record on a phone in a living room, and then 3 episodes later, we didn't even like have like cheap mics. Like these are really good quality mics that we were able to buy 100% from like people's funded purchases. I mean, that was nuts. That's absolutely nuts. And that led us down the whole podcast rabbit hole, which we'll talk about a lot. But I wanted to start it off with, because we've done a few episodes now, almost a year's worth. We did stick to our word, because we said we'd try to do every other week, but we wouldn't guarantee it.
Yeah.
We've done pretty well. We took a couple of weeks off. But I wanted to ask, before we dive into some of them, which for you was the most fun or your favorite episode to record?
Yeah. So we've done a lot of things, a lot of different styles as well of podcasts, like including interviews that we'll get into later. But for me, I'm going to have to say the most fun in preparation and actually doing was the Arturo Fuente deep dive cigar history podcast, because that was really like a fun project, combining different sources and just going really deep into the cigar history, not only of Arturo Fuente, but also just reading about cigar history in general, like the early stages of Tampa and all that was very interesting. And I think we did a really good job on that as well. And we put a lot of effort into it. Yeah. I think it was our most prepared for episode. So I'm going to have to say that one.
I agree in many ways. You know, what was cool about that one was it felt like a school project, but one that you'd actually chosen to do.
Exactly.
And you were passionate about it. It wasn't like the teacher giving you a topic. It's like you could choose to do it. Like, because we were like talking several days in a row. We're like, I'm going to hop on the document for a few hours this evening so you can read through what I've done. And like, it was everything that's good, fun about group projects, but like with an actual passion topic behind it. And like you said, that one I felt all the way through that it was good.
Yeah.
Which was like, I'm always kind of a pessimist with stuff that we do, but like
initially at least.
Yeah, initially at the very least. But that one I just felt it was good all the way through because there was so much rich information to do.
Yeah.
Felt like we couldn't really go wrong.
Yeah, and we also want to try to do some more of those styles occasionally when we have something that we really feel like we want to present.
Yeah, and I might tell you after, lad. Actually, I'm going to hint at it now. I might as well do it. We're going to do Padron next because I'm going to order Jose Orlando's biography that's only available through their website. They have to buy it from the States. It's going to be like $80 to get. So if you guys want to hop on PayPal, I completely kid. But I'm going to order that book because there is history that you can't find online. There's no way to find it. It's all that information is just in the book, and there's no leaked stuff on it. Like there's no way to get it. And it's a whole entire book of his life. So I think we're going to be able to bring you guys some amazing content from that. For me, I'll say the most fun one in another way was the plume versus mold one.
Big topic.
I mean, it was just fun because of the circumstances around it. Like that's a topic I had been talking to people in the DMs about for like 2 years since we'd had the thing. And it felt so good to like get it all out and have that episode. And then the response was amazing. I don't think we've ever gotten so many DMs after. I mean, like the whole thing was filled and comments on YouTube and so much stuff. So it was just a lot of fun. Like it felt like there was more buzz around that one immediately because it's such a polarizing topic.
Yeah, exactly. And also nice to put our thoughts and statements on the record officially, like out there in the cigar world.
Yeah. And then I guess we get to the more obvious fun ones.
Yeah.
Because of the interviews. I mean, we managed to do 3 really kind of high-profile interviews in the first year, which is also mind-blowing. And we started off with, that being said, we started off, like our first interview was with an actual cigar manufacturer, Edgar Julian Suede. Really nice first interview, and just, you know, it was very relaxed, which was a nice way to get into it. All of them have been relaxed, but to be the first one and have a chill guy like Edgar on, who was just sitting in his office smoking a cigar, pausing at times because he had to, you know, oversee his operations there. Just a really nice, cool, like, insight. And big. I mean, a lot of this comes down to our friend Manny here, who was able to help us out with his contacts, because that's what got us rolling with Edgar. But like Ruben said, I mean, and he's really taken a huge step. Now he's working full-time with Claudio Scroi of Mombacho Cigars, and his brand is just exploding even more this year. So that's really cool to see. And I mean, I guess the next step was another Dominican, a little more tenured, a little more history in the industry. Jose Blanco was, and when you talk about relaxed, I mean that was relaxed. Like he was just sitting there, you know, his family in the background.
Yeah,
and
Jasper, him yelling at Jasper. You know,
classic. That's a staple of Jose Blanco. But he was so relaxed. His like New York mannerisms, just like. We are the definition of like young blood. Like we don't even have any, like Edgar, at least he's young and like new to the scene, but he's like manufacturing. Like we have no real connection to the industry.
No, exactly. We've just kind of nudged our way in there on social media. So.
And Jose has the most like experience you can have pretty much. And like we were still able to have such a cool, relaxed talk with him. It was amazing. Like that was incredible. But there's a common thread in these episodes, lad, because we have almost cursed ability to choke right before recording. This started with Edgar. Do you remember what happened there, lad?
Yeah. Well, I remember from my part, you had just been in Lund visiting, and also like
we were hungover still. I think
we were hungover, and I hadn't used my computer for a good week because we were just in the middle of that.
Oh my god!
Yeah, so I hadn't like charged my computer, and then I thought it was broken, so I was like running around Lund hungover and just trying to fix my computer. I went to 2 different shops. Like
you were like texting people like, can I use your laptop as a backup if I need to?
And then I ended up having to use a friend's laptop in school. I went and I took like a group room, and then we had some technical
I mean our audio wouldn't like that. Zoom was kind of screwing us over. Like the headphones and the microphone wouldn't work. We managed to get it done. I remember we got all the stuff to work like 2 minutes before we called Edgar. Mm-hmm. Like we just managed in time, but we were freaking out. We were pissed. I remember we were like screaming like fuck, because our microphones wouldn't like connect. It wouldn't like choose the right inputs. But Jose Blanco was even more panicked. Mm-hmm. I mean, do you remember? We were at the summer house.
Exactly, we were at the summer house. We were sitting in your basement, just like in a room to not have so echoey and stuff. But it was a problem with the accounts, right? The Zoom accounts.
But like the funny thing here is we choked with Edgar, and we did it in the last minute. Mm-hmm. So you drove up to the summer house early morning. You got up at like 6 a.m.
Yeah.
And then we were like, we're going to talk to Jose Blanco at like 10 a.m. Swedish time or something. Why don't you get up at 6, drive 2 hours, get here at 8 a.m. so we're 100% prepared. And we were like, all right, let's do it. Still, we managed to choke, and this time
we didn't make it on time even. We
it was so embarrassing.
But Jose was so cool with it. He was like, yeah, take your time, 10 minutes there, and
he'd blocked out two hours of his day for us, which was ridiculously kind. But we were going to use your Zoom account through your university, but it didn't allow you to call people outside of your university. And then I tried to sign in. I forgot my fucking Zoom password. That's what happened. I forgot to log in.
So then we tried to buy a Zoom, or like 2 hours on Zoom, which didn't work either.
It wouldn't allow me to purchase it. I at like 5 minutes passed, I remembered the password and I somehow got in. And we were like, phew, because I don't know what we would have done. At that point, we were literally thinking, we're going to choke this podcast. We're not going to be able to do the interview because we can't fucking get it to work.
Imagine choking, like, interviewing Jose Blanco because of technical difficulty, or like,
I don't know how,
not even remembering a password.
We're not bad with tech.
No, we're not. That's the thing. But I guess we have to have some of that stress to operate. We only operate under stress.
Yeah. If you guys are betting on the wrong horse by like supporting us and stuff, because we are serial chokers. But we somehow come through clutch in the end.
Yeah.
And then there's a last interview we hadn't talked about, but we didn't really choke for this one. We got there in time. It was a little bit choky during it, but that was the Aaron Sigmund one, the most recent that you guys might remember, and that was a really good one as well.
That was a really fun one. Yeah, because it was a bit different. Sigmund, he had a lot of stories, I mean, from his whole lifetime. And obviously he's been so involved in different parts of the cigar world, but not like hands-on in the industry making cigars like Jose Blanco.
Yeah, he's more of an observer,
Edgar.
but like he's like kind of a living encyclopedia in ways.
Yeah. So he had a lot of nice stories, and he was a super chill guest because he pretty much could just take control of the podcast himself, because obviously he has so much to talk about, which is what we wanted him to have. We just wanted him to have the floor pretty much.
But what choked there was my Wi-Fi. For some reason it just cut out in the middle. I think you guys can tell me if you ever noticed, because I had to spend literally like 4 or 5 hours editing that episode because there were so many audio glitches through Zoom,
and that we were three different parts,
different audios. 3 different audios. For a while I told Ruben, like, I'm not even going to be able to get the video episode up because there's so many cuts, but I got it up and I think it looks pretty good. But yeah, again, like every single episode we interview, there is some kind of obstacle. Obviously this is going to get easier if we somehow someday are able to meet people in real life and everything. That would be awesome. But
yeah, because it's just so much more fluid and natural when you're in person.
Yeah.
So obviously podcasting has been a large part of 2021 for us. Very fun. And just really fun to get into personally, because I didn't think of myself as a podcaster.
No, me neither.
And it's still difficult to think like that people actually listen to this and that we're making content, which is very fun. But leaving podcasting then, and following the interview line, we have done some interviews about us as well. In all of them, actually, all three in 2021 as well. Started out with All Things Cigar in I think it was February.
Right.
Where they have their interview series called People Behind the Profile. So that was obviously very fun for us.
I remember being just very honored because they had done interviews with like some of the biggest accounts on Instagram. And I never think of us as like any profile. Like, I don't know. It was a kind of a weird thing to have them interview us as like a big cigar Instagram. Like, it was just kind of a weird feeling, but it was very cool. Like, it felt just very humbling and like honored to, like, I don't know, be on there and like answer questions about us.
Yeah, because this one was obviously a lot of cigar related questions, and just nice for us to also, because a lot of the questions were about our past, how we started Stogie Lads and stuff like that. So it was fun to kind of reminisce for ourselves as well, and just going through the entire timeline.
It was a really cool thing to do, and people read it and talked to us about it. I mean, that was just a cool experience. And then shortly after that, this surprised me. An old, not classmate, but we studied in the same high school back in Brazil, reached out to me. He studies at King's College now in London, which is a really prestigious university there. And he was like, we have a series about young entrepreneurs. And we want to interview you. And we were like, whoa, like that's kind of a weird thing. Like, we don't think about ourselves as entrepreneurs either. You guys have heard how amateurish we are with all our stuff. But that was really, really cool. Just like kind of talking about us more rather than cigars, right?
Exactly, yeah. That was more of a focus on entrepreneurship, as their series was about young entrepreneurs and more of the business side of it. They had to cut some of the cigar-related questions out because
that was a crazy thing.
Yeah, because it got taken down first, and they were like, "We can't post this because it's smoking."
Can you believe that?
Yeah.
Someone reported it.
Yeah, someone reported it. So they had to redo the interview kind of structure, and had to take out a lot of questions about cigars. But that was fine because the focus in that interview was more
it was totally fine. It just annoyed me how, because it would have been not fun, but interesting to see who the person was that was felt so extremely discriminated against, that there was something, even the mention of a tobacco product, that they felt like they had to report it. So then they had to add disclaimers and stuff to like say like we're not promoting tobacco use and all that stuff, and it was allowed to be kept up, but that was like nuts. And I felt so bad for Lucas, the guy that did the interview, because he was so stressed, like he'd put so much time into it. Like, we did a long call and he like transcribed everything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was a lot of effort for him. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Absolutely. But continuing, we had the also the Light 'em Up Go project, which was actually part of another fun thing that we joined as brand ambassadors for a guy named Reinhardt's his project, which is a platform really for the cigar community, and joining in virtual herfs and kind of just getting information on where you can smoke in different areas of the world. So that was also one thing that we joined in, and really just joined in because we thought the idea was so good, and because
we're not
Reinhardt
getting
is such a cool guy.
Because this one we're really not getting anything from, in terms of like physical stuff. Like, there's no payments. Like, it's just because we really believe in the project, and it's still very much a live thing. It's in its infancy still. So if you guys want to join the app, it's going to be a social media they're still working on it. It's huge.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like 3 guys, I think, that do the whole thing. They're programming a whole app for this, and it's going to be amazing when it's finally done. So if you guys want to join, we can still invite people on there, so you can just DM us after this. And it's going to be really cool when it's completely done. A lot of people signed up, though.
Yeah.
We got the most people to sign up.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Our community certainly is the best. But yeah, that's all virtual stuff. So we also, I mean, even though it's still very much pandemic times, especially as of recording this, the whole resurgence of what is this, 14th, 15th wave?
Yeah, I was gonna say second wave, but that's not true.
We were still able to meet people in real life. I mean, before this, we met Manny. Was the first person ever we met through this, but that was actually last year. This year we were able to have herfs with people that found out about us through Instagram, that texted us to meet with herfs. I remember we were a little bit nervous to meet people up, but it's always been the best. That's the whole takeaway, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And we just had one recently. On Sunday was the last one. Just, people that we've been chatting with on Instagram that we finally meet and are just so awesome guys. And you feel just after the second time meeting them that it's
like your old friends. Almost,
exactly.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how cool the community is. Like, you get the vibe from Instagram DMs that everyone we talk to is kind of a cool person. Like, they're all chill. There's not a single person that that we've talked to more than like once on Instagram that are like seem like kind of strange people. Like, everyone is just super cool. Yeah. But you never really know from online. But it's always translated to every single person we've met in real life has ended up being such a fucking awesome person.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I unfortunately you didn't meet the three amigos, but I was fortunate enough to be close to them because I was in Lund and they were talking to us and treated us or me with two other friends, unfortunately because you couldn't come because of work and other things. But just extremely generous lads who treated us to a fantastic evening. Just invited us to watch a football game, and then followed by just an absolutely amazing smoke at a lounge in Malmö, where one of the three amigos is a member, which was certainly very cool. I mean, he was so generous. He picked us up in Lund and then brought us to the game. Some very nice VIP treatment there as well, and just ending the night at this lounge was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, Three Amigos. If you guys don't know them on Instagram, search them up. I mean, one of the cornerstones of the community there, and they've given us crazy cigars before. Yeah, but he gave you some nuts stuff there as well. Yeah, some regional edition Cuban, some really rare stuff. Lebanese regional, French regional, just nuts stuff. But like, I wasn't too depressed. I would have been really sad to not be able to make it. But luckily, like 2-3 days later, we were able to work with the Dominican embassy. I mean, we offered all our help possible. Basically, they hosted an embassy event at Cigar, at the lounge here in Stockholm, which is a really private, like prestigious private members club. Again with Jose Blanco. So they had a lot of people in real life there, some like embassy people and some members of the club, and I was luckily able to go there, so I was invited into the lounge, smoked. We were given some Don Carlos Arturo Fuente cigars, and Jose Blanco had a live talk, and in real life it was amazing there. They had Dominican rums, they had obviously the cigars. Amazing people too to meet there, which was super cool. But then you, among with other people, joined online, right?
Yeah, exactly. And and we could I can say as well that it looked like an absolutely amazing evening, because we had one camera on you guys in the lounge, and then Jose was on Zoom as well. Even Carlito Fuente joined in. Incredible. Yeah, so that looked like a very nice evening, and it was nice to join in virtually as well, of course. A few people joined in buying the
this was only for sweets. So like basically our involvement was the Dominican embassy allowed us to take care of the invites virtually, which was such an honor, because I mean we were allowed to invite any Swedes to join virtually to take part, and they smoked the same cigar, and it was kind of like a virtual herf and a seminar by Jose Blanco, which was so cool for us to be able to involve our audience, and that was such an honor.
And then we actually hosted our own kind of seminar.
Yeah, true.
With the Basel Business Club, which we were invited to just hold kind of a introduction to cigars, where we discussed a lot of different things, just from cigars history to what they are and kind of how you smoke them, but then also going into the whole business and economic side of it as well. And
thank you to Joseph Steinmetz for inviting us to that. Just just also kind of a surreal experience for people to have thought of us as like worthy to host a talk and a seminar on cigars. You know, that's kind of crazy. And it was a fun, really cool group of like people kind of our age, mid young 20s. which felt really relaxed and a cool first thing. I mean, it would be really cool to do more stuff like that in the future, but that felt like such a great first experience to host a talk like that. So that was really, really, really good. So many events. Can you imagine that all that happened this year?
It's crazy.
But
this is when you realize that a year is pretty long, even though it feels very short as well.
Just 100%.
Yeah.
All great stuff, but we did, okay, so we're going to be real with you guys. We discussed if we were going to talk about this, but we did have some things that didn't go as planned.
Of course, now it's just sounded like everything was very smooth and all that, but we did actually have some things that fell through. One thing that we were very excited about was Spreadshirt, where we have the online merch. They contacted us about a design opportunity where they were going to put a design team towards us, and where we could pretty much make our own designs and sell them through Spreadshirt. And this was something that we had been discussing if we would do it privately, trying to make the designs and then selling through a different web shop, because we wanted to evolve that kind of merch in quality wise. But this didn't really work out that well, because we sent in our designs. We had 3 or 4 different ones, 3 I think. And they unfortunately came back like really low quality wise, not what we were expecting, not what we wanted to put out there for you guys to buy either.
The whole basis of it obviously was to make better stuff for you guys, because I mean, I think a lot of people are, maybe some people think the hoodies and the mugs look cool. I think the mugs are nice.
Yeah, the mugs are nice.
All that stuff. But I think most people got it to support us. But like, we wanted to, if you guys are so kind that you want to support us, we wanted to actually bring something of even higher quality. And it sounded like they talked a big game. I mean, this is a huge company. So we were a little bit skeptical, because we were like, I mean, we've sold a lot more merch than we would ever have dreamed of, but we're not like huge output, a huge output account. So we were surprised that because basically they were going to give us a design team to do everything. So we were like, wow, this is going to be really good. But yeah, it turned out that it was a little bit lower budget than we expected. They didn't really, it wasn't like hand sketched stuff. It was like kind of crude Photoshop stuff.
Because they sent us what we thought were just the first versions, or
like
visions.
Extremely rough drafts.
Yeah, extremely rough drafts. But in fact, those were the designs that they wanted for us to put on the website. So we kind of abandoned that.
No, we didn't think that we there's no way we could, like the logo merch that we have now. It's basic, but it's not bad quality. No. So we were like, there's no way we want to put out stuff that's bad quality for you guys. There's still something we want to do at some point, but we're just gonna have to see how to do it in the best way. So that did fall through in the end. We didn't want to take advantage and like of you guys to make you feel like you need to support us and like give out really bad shit. So yeah, I mean that was a lower note, but there have been really, I mean, like the events we talked about, but also the cigars we smoked. I mean, we talked about this kind of the last episode.
Yeah.
But just a highlight of the crazy stuff we've experienced. I mean, that week in the countryside when you came over, we had 8 cigars.
Yeah.
We talked about how we smoked too much, but it was still a fucking awesome experience.
Yeah, it was a really nice. It was just 4 days, really. But in that time, we did so much with just reviews and smoking very nice cigars. Yeah. And like you said, it felt like a bit much maybe at the time. But looking back, that's still a week that I highlight as one of the best this year.
The vintage Fuentes from Shane, ridiculous. The Dominican, the Year of the Ox from Tim, crazy cigars that we would never have been able to experience. Again, just like everything we've talked about. I mean, literally, I remember being younger and like creators say like, oh, this is all because of you, and it feels cliche, but it literally is, because I mean, we wouldn't have anything. And I mean, we're hoping to replicate a little bit. Maybe we're going to take it a bit easier with the cigars. But in a week from today, we're traveling, lad, finally.
Yep, finally. We've posted this on Instagram, but it's, we say it again, we're going to Portugal, to the Algarve, for a week and a half, pretty much. Yeah. And where we're planning now on what cigars to bring, and what have we? Maybe you can offer.
So I came with a brilliant idea first, because it's going to be warm there. Like, this is the south coast of Portugal, and right now it's -6 degrees here in Stockholm as we're recording. So this is not Stogie weather.
No.
But there it's like 16, 17, 18, 19 during the days. You know, it's warm, like really warm. So I was like, wow, we can finally smoke some bigger cigars. My idea was for us to smoke a Lusitanias.
Yeah.
And it is a funny story behind it, because I think most people recognize the name from the World War I ship that was sunk, that brought the United States into World War I in the beginning. But the name, I mean, Lusitania actually is the old word for Portugal. I mean, Spanish or French speakers are called francophones. Mm-hmm. Portuguese speakers are called lusophones. So it's still like a valid word. So I was like, wow, we're going to Portugal.
Yeah.
We might as well smoke Lusitanias.
Would have been poetic.
But Ruben forgot his. We're keeping our professionalism, but also I don't know how I'm going to be able to transport one, because I don't have. It's such a long cigar. It's 20 centimeters. I don't have any tubos, and I don't have a box big enough to bring it in my suitcase. So we were like, let's not do it. But I have some cool cigars to smoke. I'll reveal my New Year's smoke first.
Yes, because that's another thing that we're going to be celebrating New Year's there. So we have to plan on what we're bringing there.
So I'm going to smoke a Monte Cristo No. 4, which might sound basic, but this is a one from 2005. Or 2002. I can't remember if it was 2002 or 2005, but this one was from Mr. Okic, a Swedish guy that I met. Another person I got to meet in real life through Instagram. He gave this very vintage cigar. You can look on it how aged it is. So that feels like a cool New Year's cigar to smoke. You know, earlier in the day. Our tradition is to smoke, a little earlier in the day.
Yeah, exactly. One really nice smoke early in the day when you're not, under the influence of alcohol or anything, so that it's a very memorable smoke. Mm-hmm. What I'm bringing is the cigar that you smoked for your birthday, the Arturo Fuente Don Arturo. I thought that would be a very worthy smoke, and also very excited to have another Arturo Fuente.
That's a good one. I brought a Cohiba Siglo 1. This one I've been wanting to smoke so long. We can finally, which is crazy to say, but we can finally go to a cafe, order a coffee, and sit at the cafe outside and have a cigar, because we are not legally allowed to do that in Sweden. So that's what I'm looking forward to. A cappuccino and a Cohiba Siglo 1.
Yeah, I'm going to be bringing a lot of non-Cuban cigars to smoke that I've been wanting to try. Some Edgar stuff.
Yes, finally.
Finally we received those, and I haven't smoked those yet, so...
Eric Espinosa, Laranja, we're going to smoke.
Yep. And
Portuguese
that has,
word.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
That has a Portuguese meaning, which means orange in Portuguese. So that'll have some connection towards there.
Very good. Although it's a Brazilian
we'll
cigar.
also see if we're able to pick up the regionals, the Portuguese regionals.
The Saudades, the San Cristobal de la Habana regionals for Portugal that just got released. So perfect timing.
Exactly. So we'll see. I'm going to be in Lisbon a day before we meet in Lagos in the Algarve. So I'll see if I have the luck to pick up.
Hopefully we can get that. There. And then we're going to smoke a tatuaje for no reason at all, guys. There's no reason we're smoking a tatuaje. You'll see. But we're going to be smoking a tatuaje as well, which is going to be really exciting. And you might see why in the future. Those are some good cigars we're going to smoke. But to finish this off, to not drag it on too much. It's been just so cool to go through, though.
Yeah.
All this stuff. But let's focus on why we're here in the first place, the cigars themselves. Our top 3 cigars, let's reveal them, lad.
Yeah, we do this every year. Now, I don't know how many years we've done it successfully. The first time we did it, we only listed the number 3 and number 2 cigars. But that was when the page was a lot smaller,
That was back. No, our first one was 2018. So we've done 2018, 19, 20. And this will be 21. So 4 years in a row.
Yeah.
This is a pretty prestigious list. We're
giving cigar
aficionado a run for their money, I think.
And we'll be posting this on Instagram later. But
I want to hear yours, lad, because I don't know actually. What was your third best cigar that you smoked this year?
Yeah. So the third one, I'm putting the EP Carillo Encore Majestic, which was the number 1 cigar of the year in 2018. Okay. Sent to us from Aussie, and this was one of the cigars that we smoked during that week in the countryside.
Okay, yeah, that's I was trying to remember what score.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I think you gave it a 92.
Yeah,
and I gave it a 91. So that's pretty fair. My number 3 was and this is one that I was talking about on our Herf. This is the Davidoff Dominicana, the brand new Davidoff release, and I smoked it pretty early in its release cycle. And already then it got super high reviews. I think my prediction here, mid-January, the Cigar Aficionado Top 25 is going to be released. I think this is going to be a top 10 cigar. It's just got such great reviews. I was mind blown by it. I think I gave it a 95 or something.
Damn, yeah.
So I gave it a really high score, and I think it made the top 15 at least of Cigar Journal. I think it's going to keep just banging up on those lists because it's just such a hyped cigar. So what do you got for number 2, lad?
For number 2, I have another cigar from that week, actually. The vintage Arturo Fuente Añejo Sharks.
Oh, nice.
Why I'm listing that is because, obviously, it was my first Arturo Fuente, which is kind of a crazy Arturo Fuente cigar, or cigar to smoke as like your first of that brand. Did I mention this was sent to us from Shane? I should say that once again because it was such a beautiful. We received a lot of other vintage Arturo Fuentes as well, so just that experience as well, smoking such an old cigar, just crazy, ridiculous.
Yeah, and I think you gave that like a 94 or something. So that you're keeping up with the score. I try to keep a Cuban in at least. I like to make it as diverse as possible, as much as I can. I'm not like cheating with the ratings. But my Cuban that made it this year, it was the Hoy de Monterrey Epicure number 2, actually. Surprising, because that's not a crazy one. I smoked one in January of this year, and I gave it a really high rating. I think I had one Diplomáticos number 2 this year that was probably the best one-time smoke, but I had another Epi 2, another Oyo, and it was also spectacular. So I think just the aggregated consistency of how good those. I had 2 of those this year, and both were spectacular cigars, like very complex for like kind of younger Cuban cigars. So that one for me was a spectacular cigar this year.
Yes. Okay, so to my number 1, I'm also factoring in kind of the circumstances when this was smoked, because it was a very nice experience with the cigar, but also in the like I said, the circumstances surrounding it. So I'm going with the Cohiba Siglo 6.
Oh, okay.
From Three Amigos themselves in the lounge in Malmo, which I was talking about. This was a very, very kind. Like I didn't think I was gonna smoke that cigar earlier that day.
Yeah.
Which also made it like a surprise.
Right.
And just a very nice experience having this majestic cigar. And wow, what a piece it was. The Three Amigos themselves said that this was one of their favorite cigars, or like regular production, and just incredibly big thanks to them for sharing that experience with me.
That's no cheap cigar. Before I say my number 1, I'll say my honorable mention, because it was probably the best cigar experience I had this year, but it's biased. It's my Don Arturo that I smoked on my birthday. I didn't review it for a video, and I didn't like give it a score or whatever. I think I said in my stories, like, this is as close to perfection as you can get. The cigar I'm not sure what I would have scored it if I actually like did that, but I didn't want to do a video and stuff when I was just like enjoying my day, but like it was crazy because it was perfect weather. The wind was completely zero, and it was sunny as hell on my birthday on the exact day. It was like the best possible circumstances to smoke it, and the cigar itself was absolutely ridiculously good. But again, like I didn't really put an objective rating, so that's not really fair to put. But a very close, I guess, cousin is my number 1. And I guess, unsurprisingly, if you guys have watched my reviews, it's the Opus X Angel Share.
Oh, wow.
The Reserva de Chateau, which I gave like a 98 or something, because it was that good in the moment. And that I actually sat down to review. It was just so extremely complex, and the most clear flavors I've ever had in a cigar. Like, it was not at all difficult to pick out what it was, even though there was so much in it. You can just tell how much of a blending excellence it is. And then when you think back to cigars that are either very cheap or very young Cubans, it's so evident how age and meticulous blending makes such a huge difference. Like that cigar just tasted like extravagant in every puff. So for me, easy number 1. When I smoked it, I was like,
it wasn't the Gurkha Westminster that topped the list?
That one might have topped the list of worst cigars I smoked this year. No, actually, that's probably the acid.
The acid, yeah, we did that as well.
But yeah, worthy winner for me. I said it when I was smoking it. This is the best cigar that I've ever had. I said even, and that's a statement. I don't usually say such like absolutes. Yeah. Only a Sith deals in absolutes. But,
I wanted to mention one other thing that we did this year that we didn't include in the wrap up, which was a very fun thing to do. It was actually the blind tasting. Which Mikael's Cigars sent to us.
Right.
3 different
I didn't write
cigars.
It down because I think we talked about it in one of the podcast episodes.
Yeah, exactly. But just to bring that in as well, because that was our first blind tasting.
Very, very much eye-opening.
Yeah.
Like that really made us kind of realize more what differences in cigars there are. Because I was not sure how much of a difference I would be able to taste in all the cigars without knowing anything about them. Like I was like kind of expecting them to all taste decently similar, but they were night and day between each other. Like they immediately you could taste if it was Cuban or not.
Exactly.
And that surprised me. So that was really cool.
Yeah.
Just another person to thank. And I mean, we probably touched the tip of the iceberg only in terms of all the people that we should extend our gratitude towards. But yeah, this year was insane. It was absolutely nuts. And again, like I'm left at the end of this year thinking that there's no way we can like do more, but we'll see what our attitude is like next year.
Each year has been, or the past 2 years has been completely different in the stepping stones that we've done. So it'd be,
Can't wait to see what next year has to bring for us. It's going to be so exciting. But yeah, ever so thankful for this year. This podcast, we're wrapping it up for the first ever year. Hopefully many more to come.
Yeah, just starting from January. It has really been the entire year.
Yeah.
Starting kind of poetic, starting January.
Yeah, I'm glad we did that. It's easy to keep track on how long we've been going.
So I guess one final thing to say is Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Yeah. From the bottom of our hearts, thank you guys so much for listening and all the incredible support. It is heartwarming, really. So thank you guys.
See you in the new year.
Yeah. Cheers.